There was a boy living in a small village with nothing but a dream. A dream that seemed impossible to most people, especially because of where he came from. David, a young boy with no money and very few resources, had one simple wish to speak English like the people in the movies he watched. But in his small village, no one spoke English, and the future looked uncertain. Today, we will discover his secret. The secret that turned his life upside down. But be ready. It's not just a story, it's a journey of learning and change. A journey that shows how a poor boy can rise above his circumstances, simply by learning a new language. While you listen, you'll also learn new words and how to make sentences with them. This will help you practice English in a fun and easy way. So, stay with us till the end and get ready to change your life forever. Ask yourself, what is my dream? And what am I doing to make it come true? The boy's name was David. He lived in a small village, far away from the bright lights of the city. His family was poor, and they didn't have much. David didn't have toys like other children, and he didn't go to school every day because his parents couldn't afford it. But there was one thing David had that no one could take away: a big dream. He wanted to speak English, just like the people in the movies. To David, English was not just a language. It was a symbol of success, of opportunity, and a way to leave his poor village behind. Every evening, when the sun set and the village grew quiet, David would sneak into his small room and sit near the window. He would listen to the voices on the radio, trying to understand the strange words. He would hear words like opportunity, dream, success, words he didn't fully understand but hoped would one day be a part of his life. He would look out at the dark sky and imagine what it would be like to speak English. But in his village, no one spoke English. People laughed when they heard him talk about it. Why bother learning English, they would say. You'll never need it here. But David refused to listen. He believed that English could change his life, and he was willing to do whatever it took to learn it. His journey was just beginning. One day, as David walked through the village, he passed an old store he had never noticed before. Dust covered the shelves and the air smelled of old paper. But there, in the corner, David spotted something that caught his eye: a small, worn-out English book. He didn't know what it was at first, but something pulled him toward it. As he picked it up, he could see that it had pictures of animals, words like dog, cat, house, and family written in English. David felt a strange excitement. He knew this was the book he needed. But there was one problem. David didn't have any money to buy it. His family was struggling, and he couldn't ask his parents for help. However, David didn't let that stop him. He had an idea. He decided to borrow the book from the store. For days, David went to the store, asking the old man who owned it if he could borrow the book for a while. Finally, the man saw how determined David was and agreed. David was overjoyed. He took the book home and began studying it with all his heart. At first, it was hard. He didn't understand many of the words. He would say them out loud, over and over, until they started to make sense. Cat. Dog. Apple. David practiced every day, even when he was tired, even when the other children laughed at him. But slowly, the words started to come together. David felt proud every time he learned a new word. The dream of speaking English seemed a little closer now. But learning wasn't easy. David didn't have a teacher. He didn't have a computer or the internet like the people in the city. His only tools were the book and the radio. Every day, David would listen to the radio, repeating the English words he heard. Sometimes, he didn't understand what they meant, but he kept practicing. There were nights when David wanted to give up. He would stare at the book, feeling hopeless. The words seemed impossible to remember. He would try to speak, but his tongue felt heavy, and the sentences didn't come out right. Why is it so hard? David would ask himself. Why can't I speak English like the people in the movies? One night, as he sat by the window, David thought about giving up. Tears filled his eyes. He felt alone, with no one to help him. But then, a thought crossed his mind. What if I just keep trying? What if I never give up? David wiped away his tears and made a promise to himself. He wouldn't stop. He would keep learning, even if it took years. This was his dream, and no one could take it away from him. Just when David thought things couldn't get any harder, something amazing happened. One morning, while David was practicing his English outside the village, he met a woman named Sophia. She was a traveler, passing through the village. Sophia noticed David sitting under a tree, reading his English book. "Hello," she said in a warm voice. "What are you reading?" David nervously looked up. "It's an English book," he said. "I'm learning English." Sophia smiled and sat down next to him. "I can see you're working hard. Would you like some help?" David was amazed. A real English speaker was offering to help him. For the first time, he didn't feel alone. Every day after that, Sophia would come and practice English with David. She taught him how to make sentences, how to speak with confidence, and how to use the words he had learned in the book. David practiced every day. He wrote in a notebook, watched English shows on the small television at the library, and spoke with anyone he could. Sophia was always there, cheering him on. She reminded him that it wasn't about being perfect, it was about never giving up. Weeks turned into months, and David's English improved. He started making full sentences. His first real sentence was simple: "I want to be a great English speaker." David realized that learning English was more than just memorizing words. It was about believing in yourself, about seeing a dream and working toward it, no matter how hard the path seemed. One day, David's big moment came. He was invited to speak at a conference in the city. It was his chance to show what he had learned. He was nervous, but he remembered all the lessons Sophia had taught him. David stood in front of the crowd. His heart pounded in his chest, but he took a deep breath and began speaking. "Hello, my name is David. I come from a small village. I am here today to tell you that no matter where you come from, your dreams are possible. I have learned English, and you can too." The crowd was silent at first, but then they started to clap. David had done it. He had conquered his fear and spoken in English in front of a crowd. After the conference, David's life changed. He received job offers, and soon he was traveling the world, sharing his story and helping others learn English. He never forgot his humble beginnings. One day, David went back to his village. He walked to the spot where he used to sit and dream about speaking English. Now, he had done it. He smiled to himself, knowing that his hard work had paid off. David's story teaches us that no matter where we come from, our dreams are possible. Learning English helped David change his life, and it can change yours too. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about trying, learning, and never giving up. If a poor boy like David can learn English and change his life, so can you. Your dreams are waiting for you. Don't give up. Keep going. If you believe in the power of learning, share this story with others. Like and subscribe to keep learning and growing. And comment below, what is your dream? And what are you going to do to make it come true? This story not only takes the reader on an emotional journey, but also teaches them the importance of perseverance and hard work. It's a story of hope, and it encourages everyone to keep going, no matter how difficult